Hey guys, how's everyone doing? This is the Sentinel, and welcome back to Sentinel Reviews. Big Finish time again. That our look at the Jamie Trilogy continues with The Wreck of the Titan, released in May of 2010, written and directed by Barnaby Edwards. The Wreck of the Titan once again stars Colin Baker as the Doctor and Fraser Hines as Jamie McCrimmon. Also featured in the cast are Matt Addis, Christopher Fairbank, Miranda Raisin, and Alexander Siddig. As always, I will be talking spoilers, so if you have not heard The Wreck of the Titan, this is your only chance to, pun intended, abandon ship. And right off the bat, I find that I like this story better than City of Spires, but looking back on it and listening to it again, I think it has more problems, which I'm going to get into. So, the story is that, in true Doctor Who fashion, the Doctor, plans to take his companion, in this case Jamie, to one place, and he ends up somewhere else. He planned to take Jamie on the Virgin voyage, the maiden voyage, wow, of the Mary Celeste, I think it was. It was either the Mary Celeste or the Queen Mary. Only to wind up on the Titanic. And then things start going wrong. Like, the Doctor has a run-in with the first officer. And when he gives him his name, the Doctor realizes that it's not the name of the real first officer of the Titanic. And he keeps noticing all these inconsistencies start adding up. Meanwhile, Jamie meets one of the passengers of the Titanic, a friend of this first officer, and a young woman named Tess. And it's really hard to talk about this story and what's going on, at least in this first part. Not a lot happens with the Titanic, as you would expect, but we do reach one of the first problems with this story. Every time the Titanic gets brought up, the Doctor gives this long lecture about the history of the Titanic and what happened and the people on board, and it doesn't feel natural. It feels like a lecture, like a teacher teaching a student. It doesn't even feel snobbish in the way the Sixth Doctor is. He's like more than any other Doctor, I feel, the Sixth, along with his extensive vocabulary, the Sixth Doctor likes to peacock by flaunting his intelligence, flaunting his vocabulary, and his delivery on the summary of what happens to the Titanic doesn't even feel like flaunting. It feels like just a textbook, and like with the pure historicals, but like the Aztecs or the Phoenicians or the barbarians and the samurai. But even then, it feels really forced, is the point I'm trying to get at. But then, as they're going through, suddenly, after putting all these things together that don't add up, suddenly the scene changes, and the Doctor and Jamie are now on a ship called the Titan. And these two people they've met, the first officer and this young woman, have changed. They are new people. Oh, do I want to address the thing about the Titan? No, I'll wait. And basically the entire setting has changed, and the Doctor has no idea what's happened. And quick, wow, I cannot speak today. I just have to give a shout out to Matt Addis and Miranda Raisin, because, they have to play two completely different characters, and they do a really good job. Especially Miranda Raisin, given how much Big Finish she's done. Like, she's been in this, she was in... Oh, why am I forgetting the name? I think it was the Davros mission. And then, more recently, she has played a new companion to the Sixth Doctor, Constance Clark. And, she just goes at every role she's in at 100%. And she and Matt Addis are both great in this, because they do set the two characters they play apart really well. And as they're exploring, the Doctor and Jamie find all these similarities between the Titanic and the Titan, just as the Titan hits the iceberg. And here, I feel, is a good enough place to talk about the major issue with this story. One of the major issues is that the pacing is all over the place. First they're on the Titanic, then they get captured, then everything changes to the Titan gets hit, the Doctor and Jamie are separated, and then everyone gets rescued, and it all happens really fast, and then after that, everything slows to a halt after they get rescued. And, yeah, I just feel like this story wasn't paced well, and if it was... how do I want to put that? If it was paced better... No, I wouldn't say I'd like it better, but I might. But like I said, I like this story more than I like City of Spires, because, hey, there's actually things to talk about, whereas City of Spires was just really average. But, Colin Baker gives a great performance here. Like, after the Doctor and Jamie get separated, the Doctor is with Matt Addis's second character, and Jamie is with Miranda Raisin's second character. The Doctor thinks Jamie is dead, and there's this really great somber moment where he recites this poem and, basically sends off Jamie. It's a really good somber scene with a great performance from Colin Baker. And that entire sequence, the Doctor and... What is the character's name? Give me a minute. And John are on this iceberg, and the tension in this entire scene is really great. Like, they're stranded, they don't know when or if they're going to be rescued, and there's polar bears. But of course they are... But of course they are rescued, and... Who are they rescued by? Captain Nemo and the Nautilus. And I really feel here I have to stop talking about the plot. Alexander Siddig, who plays Captain Nemo, is really good. I'm trying to think of what else I've seen or heard him in, because I've heard that name. I think it might have been Star Trek. No, it'll come to me eventually. But yeah, no, he's really good as Captain Nemo. Basically, the last half of this story, because to my recollection, the first half is the Titanic, and then it shifts to the Titan. The second episode is the Doctor and John stranded on this iceberg and being rescued, and then the last two episodes take place on the Nautilus and sort of follow 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. And like I said, because, changing from the Titanic to the Titan to the iceberg to being rescued, and then the last half of the story all being on the Nautilus, that's really where the pacing grinds to a halt. But where am I trying to go with this? But, a lot of the scenes, some of the scenes anyway, are played out from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, like the giant squid attack, which is a really great sequence. I mean, it reaches a point towards the end where it devolves into just noise, which is sort of my issue. It's not a big one. Most of the time it's fine. With a lot of Big Finish stories, that when we get these big action sequences, they kind of reach a point where they devolve into just noise. But this one does okay with that. Anyway, now my third big issue with the story, because I talked about the pacing, I talked about the Doctor reciting the history of the Titanic. My third big issue, right at the end of the second episode, when the Nautilus shows up, and from there on out, really, I feel like this story gives away the twist of the whole trilogy way too early. And I feel like the Doctor's still trying to figure out what's going on. I feel like the story is trying way too hard to course correct and go, we didn't give away the twist yet. It could be any one of these things. But yeah, like the Doctor thinks they've stumbled into a nexus point where they're in an alternate timeline now. And then he thinks they're avatars in a video game. They've somehow been digitized into a video game. And just like I said, I feel like the twist of this entire trilogy was given away way too early. And yeah, I feel like these theories aren't so much, oh, what could it be? What's the mystery here? More than, yeah, oh shoot, we blew it, we gave it away too early. Let's try to course correct and give the audience other ideas. And it doesn't work. Overall, The Wreck of the Titan is a more memorable story than City of Spires, and I personally found it more engaging. The performances from the entire cast are great, as small as it is, and it's got some good sequences, and the interplay between Colin Baker and Fraser Hines is great. However, it is brought down by really two, because in the long run, the Doctor reciting textbooks is not a big deal, but it's really brought down by two really glaring flaws. And for that, I'm going to give The Wreck of the Titan a 7 out of 10. So we have one more story left in the Jamie trilogy, so join me next time when the Doctor and Jamie will meet an old friend and we will finally learn what's going on, and I will reveal the twist of this trilogy in Legend of the Cybermen. So, what did you think of Wreck of the Titan? Start a conversation in the comments below. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Click the little button in the corner next to subscribe to get notifications when I upload. In the description box below, you will find the link to my Twitter, where you can get updates on me and the channel. This is the Sentinel, watching over geekdom, and I'll see you guys next time.